Hey guys, welcome to my channel, and this is my very first video. Yay! So today I'll be showing you how to get the perfect structure for your tall cakes or double barrel cakes, whatever you call that. So I start off by finding the middle of my cake board. I'm using a 10-inch MDF board, and also the middle of my card. I'm using a 6-inch card, and I'm doing that on a 6-inch cake, but I would recommend you use a 5-inch card. So if you're new to this, it's best to use a size smaller than the size of the cake. So if you're doing a 6-inch cake, best to use a 5-inch cake card. So I go on to drill this my boards. I'm using the 10mm drill bits for the 10-inch cake board. So if you notice here, I'm struggling a bit to get this drilling done. It's taking a lot more effort. That's because I was drilling in the wrong direction with the drill bits. I messed up a bit with that. I didn't realize that until I was done, but yeah, I did it. So I went back on to the back of the cake board to make sure that it's nice and smooth. So I just check in to be sure that there are no pieces of cake boards left there. And this is good because if you don't do that, you could end up with a wobbly cake board. You don't want that at all. Yeah, so then I go on to drill my 6-inch cake card. For this, I'm using the 16mm drill bits. That's because I need the cake card to be the hole I'm making in the cake card to be a lot wider than the central dowel, so I don't struggle to get that in. It goes in really smooth. And yeah, again, turn that over and remove any excesses. Then so if you're doing this, I'll recommend that your cakes have been cold and chilling in the fridge for at least 6 hours. And so I've layered my cakes already. Very important. If your cakes are not properly layered, they're going to be wobbly and you would not have a leveled cake. So I'm just measuring my center dowel by the side of my cake and just allowing 1 or 2 inch extra for buttercream. Yeah, so making that, because obviously after filling the cake will be taller than that. So I'm just just cutting that now. So I'll recommend that your cakes are very cold. Don't do this to a freshly baked cake because they're still soft, and as you touch them, they might wobble a bit. So I highly recommend that you keep your cakes chilled before doing this. Yeah, so with that, I've just put some tape at the back of my cake board, and then I'm putting some hot gum glue. So obviously be careful when you're using any tool such as this. It's just common sense anyway. So yeah, so I'm just trying to get the central dowel to stay put in the middle. You might have to hold on to this a little bit more just so it stays. I'll try to put a link in the description box where I've got some of my tools, like the central dowel, for example. You could use a bigger central dowel. I think the one I've used here is just a little bit bigger than the regular dowel rods, but I know you can find these from Hobbycraft. You could get the thicker one. The thicker the better, really. I'm just trying to see that it is nice and straight using my trusted cake smooth mat to just check that center dowel is nice and straight. So you just wait for some time for that to solidify, or do we say solidify, or just harden up a bit. Yeah, so been waiting a bit, so all that has been nice and solid. So now I'm just going to make a hole in the middle of all my cakes, and I need the hole to be in the same spot on all the layers. So I'm using my cake card as a guide and just using the apple core remover to remove the middle of each of these layers. missed one, but I later found out that I did, and I think I did that one afterwards. Okay, so start on layering and stacking my layers. So I've used here some white chocolate ganache so the cake sticks to the board, and then I go on to put the very first layer of cake. So it's just about peanut butter consistency ganache that I've just applied on the board, so the layers don't jump or move about when decorating the cake. So put my very first layer, just apply a little bit of pressure for that to be attached to the board, and then going in with buttercream, and I've overfilled my buttercream bag here, but then made it work somehow. So the idea of using the buttercream piping bag to fill in the buttercream is to make sure you have even layers, but even though I'm going to still smoothing that out with my spatula afterwards. But if you're new to this, you can just stick to using the piping bag, but if you're an OG, you can just scoop some buttercream on the layer straight away and just smoothing that out. Now I'm just putting the first 3 layers. Yeah, notice that I didn't. Just putting the first 3 layers of the cake. Yep, more buttercream. So try to spin your cake your turntable as you do that, just easier to do that way. And I recommend the metal cake turntable. I mean, it's just a lot easier to work with than the plastic ones. And then the third layer goes on, just adjusting to be sure it's nice and straight on the sides. And at this point I'm going to use my dowels. I'm using 3 dowel rods. I've chosen the wooden ones, not because they're better, I just like working with them. Yeah, you could use plastic dowels, any dowel at all that you're happy with. So I'm just going to eyeball the 3 dowels and just try to place them in the middle, equidistant to each other. And if you're using a 5-inch cake card, be careful not to take the dowel outside where the cake card will be seated, because the idea is to provide a structural stability for your cake. So the cake card needs to sit on the cake dowel, so just try to figure that out. Yep, then I just mark out where these are and just cut them to the same height as the cake. I think using the plastic ones are a lot easier because you just use scissors to cut them. Again, if you're working with any sharp tool, just be careful not to hurt yourself. We're not going to take any liability if anyone, injures himself while doing a cake. That's the last one there. And there it goes. So someone might ask, do I need to use a double barrel? Do I need to put the dowel rods in? Yes, you can if you're doing a tall cake. It's just best, but you could still get away with not using it in some cases, but it's just best if you want your cake to be straight and nice and have good structure. So I'm just applying some more buttercream on this, and then my cake card will be sitting on that. You see, it's nice and straight. That's what you want. And the cake card is sitting on the cake dowels. So the weight of the upper tier would be transferred to the cake board. That would to the cake card. Then that would transfer the weight to the dowels under it, and those dowels would transfer the weight to the cake board. So that's how the weight distribution for the cake will go, and that way the bottom layers will not be the one carrying all the weight of the cake, if that makes sense. Just think of it like a building structure, and with a story building we've got pillars that transfer to the foundation. So that's exactly the same what we have here. So I then go on with the rest of my layers and buttercream in between as well. I'm quite generous a bit with the buttercream here. Yeah, I've used the Swiss Marine buttercream, and I will link up the link to my recipes and buttercream in the description. You can buy this from my website. Nearly there. So that's, I think, is the second to the final layer. More buttercream. I'm just smoothing that out. And the final layer goes on. So I like to stack my cake with the cut side facing up. I don't know, I just like it that way. So I'm just filling the hole on the top. We made the hole with the apple core remover earlier. So that's it. It's not wobbling about. That's because the cake itself is firm and it's been in the fridge. So what I'll just do now is just wrap that up with some cling film. I'll usually not crumb coat my cake immediately. I need the buttercream to get cold so I don't have a hot mess while I'm trying to crumb coat this with ganache. So in the next video I'll be showing how I crumb coated this cake and maybe the final coating as well. So stay tuned. Please like this video if you want to see more content or more tutorials. Just like, save, share to somebody who needs to watch this and help them improve on their cake journey as well. So I'll see you in the next video. Please put any comment or question that you have in the chat. I'll be in the chat in the comments to respond to any question that you may have. Thanks for watching.